Hi everyone, how are you doing? I hope that you all are doing fine. I hope that you all are doing okay today. Alright, so our chapter is sensory details. First, you have to log in using the aplusstudent.com. Then you click on language, art, your name. You move on to this lesson is actually for so this lesson is for the grade 3, 4, and 5. So if you're in any of the classes, you can join this lesson. But we will take the sensory details from the grade 4. And we have the lesson identify sensory details. All right, so we have sensory details today. So we have yes, what's your question? What's your question? So we have sensory details. Sensory details are words that help us experience something through our five senses. So whenever you have the sensory details, it just helps you like imagine and picture out something using the five senses. So writers use sensory details to make stories and scenes easier for the reader to imagine. All right. So whenever you read a book and you imagine something from that book, it is as a result of the sensory detail, right? That's why you can picture yourself wherever the book is taking place because of the sensory details. So I can't really tell if she's coming back or not, but for now, I will be your English teacher here. All right. So I can tell if she's coming back or not. So probably it's quitting forever or not. I don't know. So, like I just said, the sensory details will help you imagine. Oh, it's none of you guys' fault, so you don't have to worry about that, okay? So it's none of your faults, okay? So yeah, like I said, for the sensory details, when you read a book and you can picture or imagine something in that book, it's as a result of the sensory details. Okay, so we have sensory details makes the reader imagine a particular sight, sound, smell, taste, or touch using the five senses. So the first one we have is what? Sight. So when we talk about the sights, it's just like the words that so words that describe how things look, that is the sight. Okay, so when you read something and it kind of give you like a explanation about the sight of look of something, then we have that as the sight. Okay, so for example, we can for the sights we can say the bright yellow sun shone down on the sparkling blue lake. All right. So we have the bright yellow sun shone down on the sparkling blue lake. Now, this is a sight that describes how something look. So when you're reading and you see something like this, you can kind of picture how bright the lake is or how the sun is shining down on the lake. Okay. So we also have the sound. Okay. So for the sound, we have So when he talks about the sound, it's just like a word that is describing something that we can hear. So you could be reading the book and then it just describes a very loud sound. That's it. Oh, that's very impressive. Oh, that's very impressive. We're proud of you as our A plus student. Okay, good job. So, yeah, we have an example. Mary saw a beautiful rainbow while she was walking. Now, this is for the sight. So when you're probably reading something and then it just says this example, Mary saw a beautiful rainbow while she was walking. So you now, as the reader, could picture or imagine the rainbow. And that's what sensory details of sight. Maybe when something is described and you're like, wow, okay, I can imagine this. So that's for the sight. And then for the sound we have in the morning, Samantha awoke to the chirping of birds outside her window. So this is for sound, something that you can hear. Now for this chirping of birds, it's like a very common maybe phrase that you could hear when you're reading a book. It's very common. So when it comes to the smell, it could be like the words that is describing a smell for you. Okay? So when it describes the smell when you're reading a book, for example, all right. So for example, when we read something and it says that the sweet smell of cookies fill the air. So now this is a word that could describe a scent or odor, and because of your sensory detail, you can just only but imagine. All right. So we have the taste. So taste has to do with words that describes flavors and what things taste like. Okay? So when we talk about the taste, we're just talking about the words that is describing flavor and what something tastes like. We have the sharply sour apple made Mary's mouth pucker. So it's like very sour. It describes the way it tasted, okay, the flavor. We could say, for example, the lemonade, or let's say the cold. Okay, so the cold lemonade was sweet and refreshing. Okay? Yeah. All right, so now you can see that the taste just like words that describes the flavor and what things taste like. So you as a reader can only just imagine the taste of the lemonade being sweet and refreshing, but of course you're not in real life tasting it, okay? So you just only have the imagination due to the sensory details. Oh, thank you, Judy. Thank you so much. So we have the last one. Thank you, Divine, then, since your name is Divine. We have touch. So having touch, words that describes when you touch them. All right. So when you have touch, it's just the words that describes the feeling of things when you touch them. So of course you cannot experience it physically, but because you're reading a book, you would just imagine the touch. Just like we have Ted was uncomfortable in his scratchy wool sweater. So you see that he was uncomfortable with the sweater. Okay? So yeah. All right, so moving on. So we'll move on. So like I said, you click on the aplustudent.com, click your name, and this class is for 3, 4, 5, but we will take the lesson from grade 4. Like I have said, so if you haven't done this lesson after the class, you have to make sure that you complete the lesson. All right, so we have sensory details. Okay, so let's look at this. Now, select the sentence with essential details that describes a sound. At midnight, the son of the howling coyote woke Rudy up again. Around him, the other ranch workers were asleep in their bunks. His father had said this summer job at the ranch would teach Rudy many things. So far, Rudy had learned that he didn't like horses or cattle, and he really didn't like flies or coyotes. Rudy pulled the covers over his head. Next summer, he wanted to be a lifeguard at the city pool. So, this is talking about what? Sound. Because at midnight, the sound of the howling coyotes woke Rudy up. Alright, so it's like, you know, for the coyote, it's like maybe a sound that they make to alert like their siblings, you know. So that was the sound that woke Rudy up. So you know that this one is referring to sound. And then we have the one for sight. This says that select the sentence with essential detail that describes sight. So we have last weekend my family took our dog Buddy to the beach. Buddy had a great time playing with his toys and sleeping on the sand. Late in the day though, Buddy got himself into some trouble. We were all busy enjoying the view of the brilliant orange sunset. Meanwhile, Buddy was busy eating sand. We figured out what had happened later that night when Buddy had a stomach ache. So this you have to figure out the site. So we were all busy enjoying the view of the brilliant orange sun. sets. Okay, so this is talking about the sides, so it has to be the side of the sunsets. All right, so we will move on to the test, and you can share your answers with me. Okay, let's interact now. So this is about the test. It says to select the sentence with a sensory detail that describes a taste. Mary and Simon went sailing on Mary's boat last week. Mary was the captain, so she steered. Simon was in charge of the boat's many lines and ropes. His first duty was to undo a knotted line because they set sail. Simon used his mouth to help loosen the knots. The flavor of the bitter, oily, old ropes almost made him sick. Next time, Simon thought he had liked to be the captain. So, what is the sentence that describes the taste? Is it the first or the second? So we have the flavor of the bitter, oily old ropes almost made him sick. All right. So that is the taste there. During lunch yesterday, when they passed Brett a note, when Lamar tried to grab it, Brett quickly stuck the note in his mouth and chewed. Poor Brett, the flavor of sour carbon coated his tongue. But Wendy was happy that Brett had acted quickly. That note was private. It was just too bad Brett never had a chance to read what it said. So, what is the sensory detail that describes taste here? So, the flavor of sour carbon coated his tongue. Okay, so this is the sentence with a sensory detail that describes a sound. Min was relieved to hear the car door slam out front. Mr. and Mrs. Morrison must be back. Finally, this endless day of taking care of little Alice and Kelvin Morrison was over. It was the hardest work Min had ever done. She had read them The Cat in the Hat at least 80 times. They had played the same silly board game even more times than that. She couldn't wait to get home and take a bath. So, describe the sensory details that talks about or describes the sound. All right, so we have what? What option? Is it the option one or two? Okay, so we have option one. Okay, so we have select a sentence with a sensory detail that describes a smell. Oh no, I didn't. Okay, so we have Quan wondered what happened now. Daisy, his cat, came running toward him, her tail sticking up in the air. As soon as she got close enough, Daisy leaped onto Quam. Daisy rubbed her head and neck onto Quam's chin and shirts. The sore odor that filled the room answered Quam's question. His cat had run into a song, and now they both needed baths. So, what's the right option for this for the smell? So this is what. Okay, so we have for the smell, option one. Let's see if that's good. Okay, good job, everyone. So select a sentence with a sensory detail that describes a sight. So this is for the sight, okay? Talking about what you can see, all right? The year that Kurt was a clown for Halloween, he won a prize for the best costume. I couldn't believe it when I saw he had colored his hair with green and purple stripes. The funny thing is, whatever he used in his hair did not wash out. For all of November and most of December, Kurt kept his hat on. So, which is talking about the site here? Which of the options referring to the site? So, which one is the right one? Is it option one or option two? One or two? So we have one. Okay, correct. So this is talking about smell. My brother Mitchell came home from the hospital last month. The doctor said he was all better and didn't have to go back. I was really glad because I missed him. Also, the last time I visited him in the hospital, I almost fainted. The janitor was cleaning the hall as I walked by. I caught a whiff of his super strength cleaning soap and almost fell over. I'm glad I don't have to go back there to see Mitchell. So, which of these options talks about or refers to the smell? So, which of these options refer to the smell or describes the sensory detail smell? So we have option two because it talks about the super strength cleaning soap. Okay. Now this is also about the smell. Last night, a big storm blew in and dumped several inches of rain on the city. This morning, the earthy scent of worms blew in through Luther's open window. Luther knew that it would be a good morning to go fishing. He headed outdoors with a container to catch some worms for bait. When he had enough, he grabbed his tackle box and fishing pole and he headed to the lake. So, what is the right one for this? Is it one or two? So, what's the right option for this? So, the earthy scent of worms, okay? So, this one should describe the taste. Alright, so Mink liked getting his teeth cleaned by Dr. Christensen's office. Dr. Christensen's assistant was friendly and gentle and always explained what she was doing. She told him about the different tools she used when she cleaned his teeth, plus she let him choose which toothpaste she would use. He loved the sweet flavor of the bubble gum toothpaste. His mom never let him have bubble gum at home. Ming was pretty sure mom would be fine with this, though, since it was just Toothpaste. So what is the right option for the taste? What's the right answer? It cannot be both of them, so choose one. So, what is the option for this? Option one, the sweet flavor of the bubblegum toothpaste. So this, okay, good. So this is referring to taste as well. I always knew that Beth's family had some unusual ideas. Yesterday I found out that they eat insects. They were they even gave me some. And I survived. Beth's mom fed me some cricket cookies, which were nutty and sweet. I was surprised that I liked them so much. In fact, I think she could sell those cookies. Well, she could as long as she didn't tell people what was in them. So, which of these describes taste? So, which of the option gives us the taste? So we have the second. Bet's mom fed me some cricket cookies, which were nutty and sweet. Now, this describes sound. Last spring, my family visited New York City. We were having a great trip, but on our last day, my brother got lost. My parents and I searched up and down the streets for him. It was hard to hear anything over the honking of car horns, and we almost gave up hopes. Luckily for all of us, we found him sitting next to a hot dog stand. So, what is the right option for this one? So, the honking of car horns. All right, so that's it for this lesson. We still have some more questions. In fact, a lot of questions for you to answer. So you have to answer this when you're free or later on you can answer that. But when you're doing the test and if you still need more help, you can click on this chat button here. This will help you get more help if you still need more help. All right. So before we finish, can you let me know if you have any questions? You can ask your questions. All right, so since we have no questions, we'll end here for today. See you all next time. Have a good night and bye, everyone.